ever written a book? If you have, then you'll know how much work it is. And while this may seem silly and dramatic, you know, you just have to type up the words. No, you really don't. When I first started writing about a year ago now, I thought that all I had to do was come up with a story idea and boom, I could just write however I felt like it. And then I could get it done within a year or two. No, I couldn't in fact get it done in a year. In fact, in this year I've been writing, I have 36,000 words done. Which may seem like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not. That's not 36,000 words across one of my books. That's 36,000 words across everything I've written. The first book that I've worked on is about 27,000 words, which is only about 100 pages of an actual novel. And so, although I might not be the best person to give advice, I wanted to give any beginner writer who might be watching this video, anyone who has ideas for books, anyone who wants to write in the future, I wanted to let you know my tips to writing a book. These notes that I just flung all over my room, which took me 3 takes by the way, they all went in one direction. No! Have you ever wondered? These notes are from July of 2024. Here is everything I have in order. So, clearly, it's not very much, okay? Most thing that I remember is writing these first 10 pages. This is 5 sheets of paper, double-sided, it's 10 pages. I have written the first 6 chapters here. Or what I thought were the first 6 chapters. I was like, oh yeah, these are so good, you know. This is chapter 1. This is chapter 1. Okay, let's take a step back there. This was so long ago, I didn't have their names. I didn't even come up with their names until I actually started typing it on my computer. So in the square bracket things, I have male character's family last name, female character's family last name, female character's full name, sister's name, female character's name. Yeah, I think you get the point. Then I wrote these 2 bits. Again, sorry if you can hear the background noise. I literally told them I will be filming this. Ew. Okay. If anyone knows, I hate my own writing. I dread the part where I have to read back my own writing because ew. This is horrible. Then I wrote this scene, which was, again, quite a long time ago. After that, I also wrote these. Now, these aren't actually part of the book. This is the novella. If you don't know, it's planning to be a trilogy, okay? First book, novella, second book, third book. They're all set in different people's point of views because it all goes across the same timeline. Relatively the same anyway. Some bits and bobs go further, some bits have prologues, you know. But I needed to capture every perspective because otherwise you're left with so many things unanswered and I don't like that. So I wrote this kind of icked me out for when at the time frame it was set. However, I put it back later in the book and then it works so well. And then this is I feel like in this video all you're gonna hear is just I feel like that's all you're gonna hear. I remember specifically writing this one because it was during my summer holidays and I was staying at Caravan and I remember exactly writing this. I wrote this part and this small part. Then recently I wrote this scene. What is this scene? Oh, this scene. I wrote this in class because I was bored. Nowadays, however, I just use my little notebook. We have a new book idea, which I managed to... No, we're not going to give spoilers. And then we started writing a scene because I felt like it. I did a rough layout. This was before. Now, I just want to say, I have a layout for every single chapter. I know what's going to happen in every single chapter of the book. This, however, was a rough layout at first. Then we have the backstory of everything because it needed to make sense. Here we have everyone's birthdays because, yeah, we need birthdays. So we have all the book and their plans and when they're going to be set. I say they're set around like the same time frame. So then basically, book 1 from August 7th to January 7th. The novella is August 7th to April 7th. Book 2 is a prologue, and then from August 7th to January 14th. And then book 3 is a prologue, and then August 1st to January 8th. So they're all relatively around the same time. Then we have again another scene. This is scenes for the novella actually. Again, another scene, drawing of my main character for some reason. Cover designs, because why the hell not? More scenes, and then today this is what I wrote. So yeah, it's fun. However, now because of my going off topic, we're gonna get back into the writing tips. Tip number 1, you can't write a book without a plan. Now, to some, that may sound obvious. To others, that may sound stupid. If someone feels like they don't need a plan, I'm not gonna criticize you. I'm just here to give some friendly tips, okay? You do need a plan. I promise you, you really do need a plan. Otherwise, there will be plot holes that will take weeks to fix because you haven't properly planned. And then, even though if it feels like you can just jump straight into the idea, you really can't. I'm sorry, there will be too many plot holes. You can't get a book done with plot holes. I have experienced myself on that. And if you're part of the crowd who thinks obviously that's obvious, of course you need a plan, let me explain. You need a detailed plan, detailed to the core, okay? I haven't started writing well until I had all my chapters laid out. That took way too long. I mentioned I've been writing for about a year now. We don't talk about the first thing I wrote. It was on my notes app, okay? It was a cute little romance. That wasn't actually very cute, it was really sad. This one, my main one, okay? I've been working on this for 11 months now. July 2024 to June 2025. It's a long time, right? You'd think I'd have more than 27,000 words done, you know? And yes, okay, like I am in school full-time because it's a job, guys. I also do sports and I'm an active reader. However, for the first, I'd say 6 months of the 11 months, I didn't have a proper plan. And about 5 months in, I completely got rid of everything. I just got to a random point and I was like, I don't know what to do. This just isn't working, you know, because I didn't plan it properly. I had the beginning planned, the ending planned, a few scenes in the middle planned, and I didn't know what to do because I hadn't planned it properly. I only had about 8 chapters written, and honestly, about 8,000 words, which really isn't a lot for like 5 months time. So after I scrapped that, I replanned everything, and then I just wrote. I wrote, okay? Once I'm in the summer holidays, trust me, you will never see me leave my room ever again. Unless it's to go book shopping, of course. Where I live, the summer holidays is only 6 weeks, okay? That's not fair. I see Americans finishing in May and going back September. I finish in late July and go back early September. I can actually do a lot in 6 weeks because I have the freaking time to do it. And then in the same time it took me to write 8,000 words, I wrote 34,000 words. I know. Because I had detailed plans. Here on my Google Docs is a layout for each chapter, okay? Every single chapter gets a little bit of description, and you deserve to have a plan that works for you. Piece of advice number 2. Your first draft does not have to be perfect. It can just be a scrap. Who really cares? In fact, I saw a video today saying that your first draft is already perfect because you've written it. And that actually means a lot, because even as someone who hasn't actually finished her first draft, it does mean a lot. Because one of the reasons, apart from the fact that I didn't have a plan, one of the reasons why I didn't write was because I wanted it to be perfect. And it just couldn't be. Your first draft is your chance to get everything written down, to understand your characters, to figure them out, to fix plot holes, etc. Which is what I'm doing now, that I'm not perfecting it. All those things can be for later. That is exactly why we call it a draft 1, okay? The number in there is the first draft. There's going to be more in the future. There is so many steps to writing that goes on behind the scenes. If you spend all your time worrying about it being perfect, then you're never going to get anything written. I would only write on days where I felt like I could achieve something, where I felt like I could write so much and it would be such good quality. And obviously I can't do that every day. That's not like a thing that happens to me. Sometimes I'm busy, okay? For example, last night I had football training, so I came home at like 4. I left at 4:30. Football training was 5 till 6:30. Then I had to go pick up my brother, who finished at 7, but he's always late, so we actually finished at 7:20. And then, long story short, I didn't get home till 8, okay? So I only had time to write 300 words. I was still quite proud of myself with that. I managed to write so much in such a short space of time. The thing was, it wasn't perfect. I just wrote because I wanted to write. I want to get this thing done. So I just wrote. If you worry about your first draft being so perfect, then you literally, no words will appear on that screen. I'm so sorry. I'm just saying it the way it is, because all of these tips that I'm giving you are things that I didn't know when I first started writing. So please, don't spend too much time worrying about your first draft. I promise it is a chance to learn. It is a chance to grow as a writer. It's a chance to figure out everything, your writing style, your characters, your plot, your world that you're living in. When I have my first draft done, then I'll start the second draft, and then it's time to start perfecting it. Not completely perfecting it, because that's the editing part, but then I can start enhancing it, getting rid of scenes that are unnecessary, putting in some more scenes, taking them away. That's for another time, because I'm not even at that stage yet. A piece of advice number 3. You don't have to write every day. Seriously, don't pressure yourself into writing. There's hardly been a week where I've just written the whole week, because that's just not possible, you know. You are going to get writer's block. It's like if you read too much too fast, you're gonna be put in a reading slump, you know. That is exactly the same with writing. I just had a small little writer's block because I got so determined that I could write so much in my book that I wrote so much so fast. You know, I swear I wrote like 3,000 words in one day one time. Do not recommend. That took me like 5 hours, okay? Please don't pressure yourself into thinking like you have to do so much, because you don't. You don't have to write every day. There can be days where you're busy, or you have other plans, or you just don't feel like it. And that's totally okay. Not feeling like writing is a completely valid thing. And obviously, unless you're a published author with a due date, then that's completely different. If you're just a teenager like me, writing for fun, but possibly for the future, who cares? I'm sorry. You're gonna get it done, I promise. I have faith in you all, but you really don't need to write every single day to do that. You will burn yourself out. You will fall into writer's block, and it's honestly hard to get out of writer's block. It's hard to get out of a reading slump, but it's worse to get out of writer's block, I promise. I've had maybe 2 or 3 incidents of that. Do not recommend. Don't try and write thousands of words in a day. If you do that, then that's okay. But just don't force yourself to do it. If it's part of your routine, you like it, you enjoy it, it works well for you, then that's great. However, if you're like me, writes like an average of like 300 pages, writes like an average of maybe 300 words a day, I don't even know how much I write. But if you're like me, then please don't pressure yourself into doing it. It's really not worth the hassle. Also, I see videos sometimes and it's like, what I write in a week, and they write thousands of words every day. I promise you, that's not normal. But I think we should normalize not writing that much, because literally I could have a week and I'll write like 0 words the whole week. That's fine. That's okay. My last thing for this video that I will say is write for you, okay? Not for anyone else, not what anyone's recommending, what they want, what they think you shouldn't have in your book. Do it for you, okay? If you want to write about something, cool, go write about it. If someone else wants you to write something, you really don't have to listen to them, because it's your book. You can do whatever you want with them. If they want to write a book about that, that's cool. They can go do that because that's their idea and they want to do that. If you don't want to do that, then that is perfectly okay. I'm sitting down again because I don't feel like standing. Like, okay, I love my friends, okay? But they will tell me things to like put in my book. Some ideas they come up with are actually really good. And I'm like, oh wow, I might use that, you know? Sometimes it just doesn't work, you know, with your book. I was explaining one of my characters. I was talking about her and her character development, how I've changed her character. And then one of my friends was like, oh yeah, you should do this. I can't remember what it was, but it was something about her being like horrible or something, like her actually being horrible. And I was like, okay, I'll consider it, you know? No. I'm sorry, I wasn't going to do that because I had already had her structured out completely. Also, okay, I think if I ever publish my books, I will be this person, but like, you know, 1-star reviews, I will definitely read them. But like, you know, that doesn't mean you have to listen to them. If you are getting like tips and stuff, or like, oh yeah, I want this to happen, I want this to happen. If you were seeing books similar to yours and people aren't enjoying it, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them, okay? Not everything will be everybody's taste. Like, I don't understand how people could willingly read non-fiction and classic books. And that's my opinion, because I just don't like them. However, some people love them. You know, your book will be loved by someone. And you don't need other people's opinions to change what you want. Hi, I'm editing the video right now. If you can hear the music in the background, no you can't. It's Olivia Rodrigo. Right, I just came up with another idea. People love Colleen Hoover and her writing and her stories. Okay? Literally, I know, I'm looking at you right now. You are a better writer than Colleen Hoover. Anyone is. I was a better writer than Colleen Hoover when I was like 10 years old, okay? Literally. And she's like a grown adult. And people still love her writing. So, yeah, you don't have to worry about people not liking it, I promise you. This kind of leads into another point, which I would come across. It's just like a mini point. Tropes. Tropes. Obviously, we love tropes. I have a few in mind, you know? Don't overload them with it. And it's the same thing of people recommending you things. Like, oh yeah, you should add this trope in here. You should add this trope, you know? You can't have 20 tropes in one book. And like, okay, I know Powerless series is one of my favourite books. But like, there was an excessive amount in it. Still 5 stars though. Everybody go read Powerless. But you really don't. Honestly, tropes overload a book, and you don't need that many to make it work. It can work, you know? So just don't listen to other people. And that sounds really mean. Obviously, you should listen to other people. But if you don't want to do something, don't do it. And again, that sounds obvious, but sometimes people can really put pressure on you. It's like, sounds mean, but like, it really can. And then you'll feel guilty for not doing their idea. You really shouldn't, I promise you. Right guys, that is everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Right now, I look like an iPad kid. I'm literally holding my iPad in my hands. Wait, oh my god. It creates an endless loop. That's so cool. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys will, I don't know if you will actually. maybe take into account my tips because I'm a pretty good teacher, guys. I'm joking. I love you guys, and you should go subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm trying to grow my channel because I have an Instagram following and yet no one's watching my YouTube videos, which is quite sad, but I'm not going to complain because I love making these videos anyways. Okay, bye bye.